big welcome to Lucy, who has very kindly come along to talk about anxiety today.
You know, what actually is anxiety and what does it feel like for someone? And so, you know, for me, like based on my experience, when I feel anxious, it's because it's when I feel under threat, or I feel tense or afraid that something might happen, or you know, quite often it's based on previous experience, so that something has happened in the past, and something might be about to happen again, that is a trigger for me, so it makes me anxious, and which, you know, it's really, and I know it's a natural response to kind of, you know, when we're being put out of our comfort zone. So perhaps a good example is today. You know, doing this interview is not necessarily my comfort zone, and so I felt some anxiety, but I recognized that actually what I was feeling was anxiety, but also excitement as well, because they're quite similar feelings. And so, you know, I think it's really important to remember that anxiety is a natural feeling that we feel when we're under threat.
I mean, in your experience, how common do you feel that anxiety is?
So I think about the kind of the clients that I work with, and also the way that I work. You know, I think I can't really think of a client who hasn't experienced anxiety at some point in their journey. And
how do you know if your anxiety is an anxiety disorder, and what is an anxiety disorder?
when you're not able to manage or function day to day, and that's when it can become an anxiety disorder. And that could be, you know, it could be a general anxiety disorder. It could be something more specific, you know, OCD, it could be a phobia, but it's really about when it starts taking over your life. And then that's really when, you know, seeking professional help can just be such a game changer. Exercise. So it's, you know, and I do walk and talk therapy, which is just beautiful, like a beautiful thing to do. And you know, so just being outside, whatever the weather, you know, being alongside someone. So you know, for some people who might find it perhaps a bit intimidating and a bit confrontational to be kind of face to face, being able to be next to someone and just being outside in the fresh air and having other things to look at can be so powerful, and can really take you away from perhaps some of those anxieties and worries that you might have. Creating what anxiety feels for someone, and then helping a client explore actually what they've created and the colours that they've used, and that can be really powerful as well.
And one of the things I always forget to do is breathe, because it's a circuit breaker, and I'm much better when I'm breathing. And the breathing exercises are so important. They're so powerful, right?
And they're so easy and simple. I think, you know, like you say, we do forget to breathe. And you know, so one exercise I like to use is kind of box breathing, you know, so when you breathe in, you hold it for 4, you breathe out, you hold it for 4, and it just helps everything calm down, you know, physically and emotionally. And it's, yeah, it's a great tool. Another technique is humming.
Okay.
Which is another great way of kind of, I suppose it's another grounding technique, but it also just calms everything down.
Self-care is a big one. Did you find? Yeah.
I always suggest to clients that they're kind to themselves and they're a friend to themselves, and you know, and that they try and take time to do things that are just for them, and whether that's, you know, going and having a really nice coffee somewhere on their own, or going for a drive, or, you know, going and getting their nails done, just kind of feeling emotionally good about yourself and physically good about yourself, even if it's just for a short period of time, can make such a difference. I know. I mean, I think it might be worth touching on boundaries a little bit. Just thinking about kind of self-care, and how important boundaries can be in keeping yourself safe. You know, I've learned myself through, you know, my own life experience and my own therapy that actually I struggle with boundaries sometimes, and so if we struggle with boundaries, then we're perhaps exposed and maybe more vulnerable than someone who is not, who doesn't struggle. And so it's important to try and put boundaries in place, maintain those boundaries, particularly in relationships, thinking about things that, keeping ourselves safe in the sense that, this is kind of psychologically safe, as well as physically safe. But if we feel psychologically safe, then we are less likely to feel anxious. When we feel out of control of any situation, it's anxiety inducing.
Yeah, for sure.
But when we're able to take control, and obviously because we can't control other people, but we can control ourselves, so we can control what we say and what we do and how we react and behave, by consciously taking control of a situation, we're helping our anxiety. I'm not perfect, but I'm enough. And I think if we try and remember that, that's a really good philosophy and way to be. And so, yeah, that's kind of what I'd like to leave with today.